Hello Scorpio, this is your extended reading. So yeah, this message that is coming through here is very straightforward and actually is coming through as so simple, but I feel like there is a time that, may have been, repeating itself for a number of cycles that we saw in the first part. And maybe that was shaping your world, and maybe that was what you were trying to maintain, in a sense that, yes, I was picking up a little bit of a fear of changing that could be affected by some sort of not takeover from a boss, or like the control from this authoritative figure that could be very influential in your life. But I feel like somehow there is this intelligence and strategy coming from you, Scorpio, that you know that this time of becoming so aware to the point that you are exhausting yourself, right? It's like you know that there is a lot of potential there, but it's almost like the success is held by this authority figure, this powerful figure, that they are making everything, every sort of progress, like a complete tiresome venture, right? There's something that is out of your hands and in the hands of this Hierophant that you have to constantly be defending yourself from it, right? It's like if they say something, or if they move in a direction, or if they pass along some sort of task that they didn't manage to do themselves, or even if they are changing the rules and then you have to redo all the work that you have done already, it's almost like that is disheartening you. That is making you feel less involved or even less inspired to maintain yourself in that kind of world, right? And I feel like what I'm seeing here that is pretty straightforward is that is changing. That is for sure. But I feel like you are the one communicating it, because we begin with the Knight of Swords. And this is you very smartly saying the things that you think, right? But with an incredible shield. It's like, remember this, when you were so good in quickly recovering, right? And diminishing the kind of damage that could have been devastating, right? It's like you were good in identifying and protecting yourself early on, right? And recovering. But just the fact that you had to do so because this was maybe imposed by the Hierophant or provoked by the Hierophant, it's like they were giving you loads of work, like unnecessary work, right? And this is the type of work that stresses you out, right? With the Eight of Swords, it's like really occupies a space in your brain, right? It's like a mental space that you could be using for another thing, right? A productive kind of thing. But you had to constantly like be on the lookout for this one, just because you knew that this was and is perhaps a very powerful person that could influence your world in a very significant kind of way, in a way that it's like they are holding a type of promise that you are expecting to receive, but it never really arrives, right? It's like you work and work and work. You know what I mean? You work a lot, right? But the reward never comes, right? The enjoyment never comes. The fun part never comes. And so with this Knight of Swords, it's like your defense mechanism that was pretty much becoming squared, right? In a sense that was becoming too boxed in. It's like you were returning to that kind of defense response, because it was almost like well, it was part of the warning, right, of keeping your eyes open because of the actions and decisions and power of this Hierophant, because you know they could really open up the heavens to you, but why aren't they doing so quicker, right? It's just because maybe they don't see everything that you're doing, and well, we already talked about that, right? So I feel like you get the point here. With this Knight of Swords, it's like the decision comes from you that you no longer want to go through that cycle once again, right? It's too exhausting. It's like it's more than exhausting, it's unnecessary. It's just slowing down your progress, right? And so here comes your decision, very, not abruptly, it's coming through as very wisely, but very, it's almost like very prepared, like you, with all of the test drives, let's say, of how many times that had already happened. It's like you know exactly what to do and what to say and how to protect yourself, but also voice your opinion, voice your decision, and you're being backed up by the Judgment. So this Judgment card came through with the message of a very clear but very serene voice, but also very firm, talking about, yes, the time has come, right? So the interesting thing is that if we think of the World card as, traditionally a card of completion, complete completion of a huge cycle of your life, right? That you had to keep your eye open, in a sense that maybe if you blink for just 1 second, it's like your entire world could change, right? Change coming in the blink of an eye, and especially because of how powerful and influential this person is, right? So if you lose sight of that process, right, that relationship with the Hierophant, it's like you could potentially, it's like you could see this sun opportunity go down the drain, right? It's like, and this is not something that you want to, but this is something that is happening nonetheless, because it's almost like this promise that this Hierophant is holding in their hands and saying, like, look, if you just do this one more thing and this other thing and then another and another and another, and this never comes, it's like it's an empty promise. And I feel like from the looks of what I'm seeing here, it's like you'd rather hear this even wiser decision that is coming, as a, it's almost like, how is that phrase? It's like righting the wrongs, or it's like, I don't really know that well this phrase, but it's what I heard. It's like something that has been wronged, right? It's being course correct, is being now made right. And so this is what this Judgment is talking about. Now the time has come, and now the time has come for you to say exactly what you were doing instinctively to defend yourself, but now you have to express it, right? Because you are seeing that it doesn't matter how great this opportunity that this Hierophant is holding and promising to you, it never comes, right? Because it's always in their hands. So they get to decide when they hand it to you, and it never comes because they just don't see how much you're already doing. So because the time has come, with the Three of Wands coming next, this was talking about new opportunities that are not as bright or is not as apparently bright and enriching and fun and happy and all of the good stuff, but it's almost like they are smaller, or they are more humble, right? They are not so shiny and so yeah, you know what I mean, right? It's like they are a little bit more simpler, but this is what you are looking forward now to, because this three, well, the three to me, and you have also the Three of Swords, but the three of me to me has this beautiful just connotation of co-creation, right? The Three of Wands being the fire element, it's like this soulful co-creation. It's something that comes from our soul. So I feel like there is something that you are really smart not to pick up on. It's like you have been, you know, very aware of the dynamic that is playing out with the Hierophant and how they are controlling your outcome in a sense. But even from this humble perspective, humble yet very intelligent, right? It's like you know exactly how much you have learned from that dynamic and how much the universe is now showing you that the time for change in your world, especially to decide for yourself what opportunities you have in your hands, right, are and that are available to you, and not just a fake promise or a empty promise, right? It's something that is possible, right? It's feasible. And this is something that before, well, let me already add this one. So with the Judgment, we saw the Three of Wands, and now we have the Devil with the Three of Swords. And this is the type of comparison that I feel like you are coming to understand really now, Scorpio. I feel like the time has come for you to understand that it doesn't matter like how big or how small the opportunities that are presenting themselves right now. It's not about the size, it's about like how feasible it is and how soul connected to you they are, right? It's not something that, it's like letting the universe like show you that everything that was done wrongly can now be done right in a way that is, it's not, you know, winning the lottery. It's like in the small things, right? This is what this Three of Wands is talking about. And it's very different from what the Hierophant slash Devil was presenting to you with the expectation of someday reaching the sun, right? Or someday, you know, being able to go on a 2 months long vacation, or, you know, paying you to go on a leap year, is that how it's said? Is like so I feel like from the Devil slash Hierophant, it's like they, yes, saw the potential of co-creating with you, but in a sense it's almost like they were using your mindful skills, your intelligence, your ability to recover from very tough situations, maybe working under pressure. It's like they knew that they could exploit you or exploit your abilities at work, right? It's like somehow they had, well, maybe very egotistical intentions, right, coming from you, using your work, your everything that you delivered so diligently, so efficiently, right? Their idea of co-creation is based under the Devil and the Three of Swords, right? Very deceitful, right? But now you see, because it's almost like before you couldn't see this because you didn't have this other option, right? Or this new opportunity, or this soulful opportunity that is not as shiny, but is also, it doesn't come also with all of the downtime and all of the unnecessary tasks, or, you know, just imposition of rules after rules after rules, and, you know, finding that you had to put in a lot more work just to, you know, be on the bare minimum level type of acceptance from this Hierophant slash Devil. So there's something about now putting in contrast. It's like you can see clearly the distinction between these two types of opportunities, right? So this feels something that is more, what is the word? It's almost like they don't want me to, well, the reading doesn't want to focus so much on the devil, because I feel like you've known this energy, right? It's like you have been, in this dynamic with the Hierophant slash devil, maybe for quite some time. Maybe we're talking about, your entire adult professional life, over top, like where you built your career, your reputation. Maybe this is what we're talking about, like your world being your reputation, right? But in finding that even though your reputation is attached to the, well, maybe this is a person that has, a well-established name, a well-established brand, they have really incredible contacts. It's like they are well off, right? They have a very, very stable, what is the word? Reliable is, it's not, it's like a very flashy kind of name, right? It's like they are respected in their industry, but what goes in the nitty-gritty, it's like, that you are the brains behind the whole operation. Does it make sense? It's like you are the one doing the things. They are the ones showing up, all over the marketing campaign, right? So, and yet they are holding the promise of the sun. And even though the time has come, right? Because it's like you no longer want to achieve that empty promise, even though you don't have the same background, the same reference, the same name that they have, the same elevated kind of reputation. It's like you're just a normal worker, but you do the work very, very well, because you are, at the end of the day, the person that is making things run. It's like you're running the show behind the scenes, basically, right? They are just showing up and signing things and, cutting the ribbons or, launching things. So that you have better options ahead of you, right? And ones that are much more suitable to what your soul is asking for, and what the universe is showing you, that it's the time to move on from this deceitful kind of co-creation. I feel like there is co-creation here also, but there is a lot of headaches and sleepless nights and bad habits, and maybe drinking too much, or taking pills just to stay awake, right? Not allowing yourself to close your eyes, right? It's like there are a lot of bad things or unhealthy things that come from this type of co-creation, right? And I feel like somehow you are so excited with what is coming next, because it's not about how much they can bring you and how much they are promising you, right? It's almost like they are, coming to you with like a lot of things to resolve. Like you are the problem solver to this Hierophant, right? But they are the ones who know the people who are able to, make the deals, or who have like the, just the shinier reputation, whereas you don't. But it's like this really doesn't matter to you right now, Scorpio, because we have the Ace of Wands and the Page of Wands. So it's almost like that because it's time, because the time has come for you to co-create in a way that energizes you, right? It's like instigates you, inspires you. It's coming from your soul. It's not damaging your brain, right? Or exhausting your mind, right? Or giving you mental breakdowns, right? Or deceiving you and, pushing you into just bad habits, right? It's like it doesn't matter how small this new offer is, or how small this reward, this potential reward is, because it's not the sun, right? It's like this Hierophant was, promising you with maybe a pay raise, or like a bonus, or a trip, or whatever it is. It's like just, maybe like a very wonderful vacation under the sunlight, but it's like, or in a warmer weather, like a beautiful beach. It's just, it's coming through like a very flashy kind of promise, right? But yours is coming like your new promise, right? Your new desire, the one that is really just motivating you and exciting you right now, right? Even though it's like small, it's not something that is going to the Bahamas. It's just like, a weekend in your garden, right? Or it's like, I'm just giving you an example. It's not something flashy. It's something that just inspires you, and you feel, because of the bottom of the deck, that it's the Five of Wands. It's exactly the place that will, it's like it will regenerate you in a way that is not repetitive, is not time consuming, is not, occupying this space in your mind unnecessarily. It's like, this is not the type of regeneration that you want right now. It's like the type of regeneration that you want is one that, once you come out of it, it's like there is this sense that you were in the exact spot that you needed to be to feel refreshed, to feel born again, in a sense, right? It's like feeling like a curious child that is ready to play, right? And wow, okay, so the card underneath is the Empress, right? So let's talk about the garden. It's like becoming this powerful creator from nature. It's like, being happy to create from the basics. It's like not, and finding it that is like really, really worth it, worth the time that you are spending in this very humble place, but one that it's just like you see yourself in it, right? Because the way that you come out of it, it's like just as powerful actually as the offer that the Hierophant was, promising you, but with no intention to really fulfilling that, right? And so I feel like there is going to be maybe a surprise for you in order to, move you away from this maybe unhealthy position, place, job, partnership, project, involvement. Whoever this Hierophant slash devil is, whatever empty promises they are giving you, they are, giving a lot of work in order to bring you what they are, promising. It's like, it's never going to happen, really. This is what I'm seeing. And so this new thing feels like a real thing, and a real thing in a way that is much more interesting to you, right? Even though it doesn't have all of the names, all of the brands, all of the fleshy, things, right? It's not, maybe it's not something expensive, it's not something luxurious, it's not, you know what I mean, right? So whatever it is, Scorpio, I feel like the decision to part ways, in a sense, right, and move away from these bad habits that maybe are just, maybe these bad habits are the defense mechanism that are, in short term, it's like they are effective in a way to make you rebuild yourself to be able to, receive all of the demanding things, right, from the Hierophant. But in the long term, it's like, it's not, right? We saw that. Like the type of co-creation when you are associated with the devil is not a healthy one. When you are associated with judgment that feels like this higher justice, it's like it is going to be something that is fulfilling, even though it's not fleshy or it doesn't have like a high price tag on it, right? So I feel like saying go for it. I feel like this is going to motivate you to create and to co-create and to want to create, right? Something that is actually very powerful, and you'll realize that after you've gone through that, well, that risk in a sense, right? So let's see what the astrological runes want to add here at the end for you. Okay, so yeah, so the Aquarius rune came through for you, Scorpio, and actually this card came through with a little bit of like the breakthrough from this boxed in, maybe vicious squared cycle, right? It's like this is not working properly. It's like the wheel is clunky, right? It's not functioning because the Aquarius energy, being an air sign and being the sign of the new era in a sense, it's talking about moving away from anything that is boxed in. It's like really thinking outside of the box. But this time I feel like it's more than just thinking outside of the box. For you specifically, I feel like that starts with, yes, a mindful decision, but it's also like an actual expression, right? It has to be voiced because it's something that you don't want to keep doing that, right? It's like you have done that enough times to see that it's not healthy for you, right? And so you want things to be more flowy. It's like the water bearer that Aquarius is. It's like it contains water, but it's the air sign. So there is rationality involved in conducting the water properly, but purposefully. That's the word that I meant to say. Purposefully. And this is associated to the Three of Wands and the Ace of Wands that we saw. Like it's your soul that needs to ignite how this creation, right? How this creative force that is the water is conducted. And this cannot be done, well, this has to be done with your intelligence that you have. You've shown it with the Knight of Swords, but it has to be a clear, pure water, right? Meaning the inspiration for it cannot be polluted by the influence of the devil, right? That is what like placing yourself outside of the box is coming through with the message from the Aquarius here in the end. So this is really interesting, Scorpio. I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.